can hear people, like at the zoning commission. You
Yeah.
have to talk close to
Telling you.
I promise.
Okay, no emergencies. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's see here. I will call this meeting to order. Ms. Bonnie, you would take roll.
Yes, Trustee Knapp,
Here.
Trustee Ringel,
Here.
and Trustee Faust.
Here.
I do pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we are here tonight for a zoning hearing for zoning application ZON 24-04 of BZ Evans LLC. And Mr. Gajewski, would you like to read the staff report?
Sure. Good evening, trustees. Staff report, ZON 2404. This pertains to the Evans Farm PCD district. That's 414 acres. Zoning is planned commercial district. This request is to amend the currently effective development for those 414 acres for Evans Farm and previously approved under the case numbers. I won't read through each of them, but you can see them on the screen. The applicant requesting to amend that for specifically adding additional signage, which is termed temporary banner style signage. So the history of the site, currently effective development plans, there are quite a few of those of varying types of amendments. The surrounding area for this site towards the north, the zoning district would be planned residential district. The land use there, Evans Farm in Berlin Township. To the south, the zoning is farm residential district, and the land use is single-family homes as well as Old Lewis Center. To the east is single-family planned residential district. The land uses are Bryn Mawr and Meadows at Lewis Center subdivisions. And finally, to the west, the zoning is farm residential district, and the land use is single-family homes as well as the railroad corridor. Moving on. So there's your general context view with the PCD district in that deep red color, surrounded by residential. So the following summary, this is a summary of the zoning development plan changes incorporated in the applicant's amendment request. This is under the signage, as I mentioned, in section 6 of the existing signage and the rezoning. Applicant is proposing to add a new subparagraph to C as follows, and it reads that banner signs are permitted within the Evans Farm PCD with no more than 250 square feet in size and limited to community events and businesses within Evans Farm. The banners shall be prohibited from facing Lewis Center Road and shall not exceed 4 at any one time. Banners shall require a permit and shall be allowed for any period of time not to exceed 6 months. I think we have maybe one more page. We have a couple renderings for you to look at. And those dimensions 10 by 24, so no larger than 250 square feet. That's what's known as the elevator shafts, kind of the second or the top half. And a second rendering for your visualization. And one last note. The staff recommendation portion, that staff is generally supportive of the request. At the July 23rd, 2024 Zone Commission hearing, a resolution to recommend approval was passed subject to 4 modifications below. Number 1, that language will be added to that prohibits banner signs from directly facing Lewis Center Road. Number 2, the applicant will replace the JED district with Evans Farm Commercial District. Number 3, limited to 4 banner signs on the elevator shafts. And number 4, banner signs are limited to community events and business in Evans Farm. So this revised rezoning amendment was submitted on August 1st, and it incorporated the modifications number 1, 2, and 4, but just to make note, number 3 wasn't included in the revisions. So that is our staff review and recommendation. I'm open to any questions you may have at this time.
Is there any time limitation so they can be up there all the time?
The limitation would be a 6-month duration for the signage, so.
Oh, that is what is proposed, or?
Correct, it would be.
Okay, because there was no
6
banners
months.
permitted before, right? Okay,
Exactly.
So those, okay, that's the proposal.
So I'll throw out I'll pass this along, but this is how the text changes would look in the actual Master Evans Farm zoning district. So the red is the additional item.
So you can see where it would be added onto, nothing's being taken out.
Because it just didn't speak to banners previously.
Yes.
Or,
We
were
don't
they,
typically allow them, yeah.
yeah, I think, what, were they banned?
From our zoning
Yeah.
code, for grand openings, we do allow them for, I think it's
Up to 15 days.
15 days, but that's
Okay,
it.
yeah, so they were allowed, okay.
And you
So-
also allow temporary.
Can you state your name and address, sorry?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Dan Griffin, 5672 Evans Farm Drive, Lewis Center, Ohio, 43035.
Thanks.
There was also language that we looked through that allows them on boards and stuff out on 23 of this size, actually even bigger. So we thought at one point they would fit within the current code, but that's why we had to amend just the temporary part of it, so.
Yeah,
And
'cause
this
that's
all-
a residential, I mean, this is a residential area. I
Yeah.
mean, it's commercial, but it's not like 23, so.
Right, yeah.
So I noticed, like Eric said, you didn't specify in the language the updated about the elevator.
Yeah,
shutters.
we need to add that. I
Okay.
made a note.
Okay, so that was just a,
That's number
I was
3, is that
typing,
3?
so.
yeah, that was number
Okay.
three.
Yeah.
Because it had 4, it just didn't have.
Yeah, and that's the only place you can put them.
Right.
And they sort of came about when we started the Lewis Center Business Association, and we started realizing that how do we support businesses and Orange Township as a whole in our events, because people driving by, how do we give people notice other than, so we thought it
So
would
I
be a
like
good
the
idea.
fact that that it specifies that it's within Evans, because it makes sense just to advertise things that are within
Right.
Evans. But we did have a public comment today from I think one of the pastors or somebody at Lewis Center United Methodist Church
Uh-huh.
in support of it, but then she was asking that they would be permitted to utilize the banners,
Yeah, and that's why I think we wanted to, and I talked to the zoning commission, we wanted to put in there for community events, because we want to do that,
Yeah.
and that's why we had the mock-up.
Did
We
So
want to
based
do that
on-
for Orange Township
Yeah,
as well.
based on that public comment, so as of now, they're not able to, but that's
Right.
something we can consider when we go through our zoning resolution amendment for our signage. We can allow those type of.
Yeah, I think
signage
they were
for
requesting
events.
banners on their own property, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, is that what it was? Oh,
Yeah.
I
yeah,
thought
they
in
want to
other
be able to do
words-
it too.
She
Precedent.
wanted banners that said for advertising them
No,
on
she
Evans.
yeah,
Okay,
they
thank
want to
you.
do
That
it on
makes
theirs.
Okay.
But it's something to consider when we go through the overhaul of the zoning resolution, because at this point in time, they're not allowed to unless it's a grand opening, so.
But there's always banners for like a VBS, like other churches have
Right.
banners out.
Do they?
They're a complaint basis machine, so.
Okay.
But yes, we have pursued violations, particularly,
If they get out of control or
Yeah.
people were,
Kind of
oh,
long-standing signs.
yes.
competing churches, they're having their VBS this week. So in theory, though, there could be continuous banners every 6 months with the same exact language or the same event or whatever for up to 6 months in perpetuity.
I would
Yes.
assume every 6 months they could update it with whatever events or information is wanting to be shared.
What's the
next.
fee for that? Do we have set the fee? We haven't set the fee yet.
It's a temporary sign fee, which is it 150 every?
150.
Yeah, 150 every
150.
6 months, yeah.
Okay. And now, is there a definition of community events and business within Evans Farm? Is there a definition of what that means?
I was thinking, in general, community events, meaning Orange Township, things that again, that's why we did the mock-up. So, and for businesses, we're trying to create more business excitement. So,
anything that's held within the Evans Farm district.
Footprint.
yeah.
Yeah, so basically, you could have a sign that says, come in and buy one meal, get the second free. I mean, it could be anything from any business, like,
No, what we're going to restrict it to, which is the businesses themselves opening soon, Sexton's Pizza, trying to promote the businesses that right now, it's sort of tough when you drive by. You don't.
Is it the developer that's going to be creating these signs, or will the opportunity go for any business that wants to put a sign up
The
there?
businesses will submit them to us.
Okay.
And say, hey, I'm opening, and we'll go to them and say, look, you're opening when, your grand opening's what time, we should put this up now and create excitement about it. So, and then they'll do the sign with Mike Mockler, and then they'll submit it to us, and then we'll bring it to you if it's appropriate.
So
Okay.
everything
want,
be blessed
should
by
you
you.
do a presentation first?
Oh.
Do you want to do your presentation about why you're requesting this, or do you have more questions? Or
I do not.
usually we have the applicant.
Sorry, we just jumped into questions.
That's all right. But you want to give a quick presentation about why you want this and why it's necessary, and then we might have more questions.
Sure.
We will have more
Sure.
questions.
You want me to stand up?
Yeah,
or you want-
please.
Okay.
Hold the mic close to your mouth.
Look at that. Very good. Thank you. Look, no,
There you go.
okay. So recently, we've seen a lot of businesses reaching out, Lewis Center in general. So we started the Lewis Center Business Association. And we want to promote, there's over 1,000 businesses in the Lewis Center area. It made us realize that our businesses in Evans Farm and our community events for Orange Township in general need the exposure that very soon with the home road, hopefully soon, within a couple years, with the home road extension, a lot of traffic's going to be going by there. And we felt like you have these vacant backs of these elevator shafts that frankly are white, and there's, they're a perfect spot to put in advertising. I don't think we would leave them for 6 months, but we just said to ourselves, what if we're Founders Day or Frontiers Day, and we want to make sure that we promote that over a period of time, and that's why we picked 6 months. But so we want to create the activity of more businesses coming to Evans Farm, and we want to promote the businesses that are getting ready to open. And this topic also came up in our JED board meetings, that, how do we keep promoting more activity at Evans Farm, because the JED brings a lot of revenue in. So that's why we decided to come to you guys, and we looked through the code, and I thought we could do it under the big sign and, the 23, the billboard. It's under billboard, but it's not specific enough to banners, so we were asking to add this to our.
And I like it because
Text.
many of the businesses along 23 have frontage, and so we can see their monument signs or the actual building, whereas when we're talking about Evans Farm, it's vertical, it's perpendicular to 23.
Yeah.
So you're zipping by. I mean, I know that Standardized is there, and I know that Prime and Vine is there, but I don't know that Crave, the
Crave
cookie place,
opened up,
or
yeah.
the Cream, the ice cream stores back in there, or the plastic surgery.
You don't.
Donaldson.
Yeah,
you know, like-
Donaldson.
But this won't face Lewis Center Road.
No.
No, but as I'm driving,
Bye.
say I'm driving
Down
west,
Lewis Center,
west, right, it's gonna be, I'm gonna see it that way.
But see, yeah, that was the one thing,
Yeah.
is that's why we limited, we didn't want any commercial really east of the railroad tracks originally. This is kind of an
Yeah.
exception,
Right,
because,
yeah.
don't want it to look all like
Junky.
23.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
23 is kind of junky in some ways, it's a bunch
this
of
is-
commercial businesses and signage and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do understand that you would want to promote businesses. But what would be an example? So I think, I find this to be overly broad. It said limited to community events and businesses, and business, it just says business. I mean, that could be anything. Business.
Within Evans Farm.
Yeah, business, but what is business? Like,
Should we say businesses?
Businesses.
yeah.
Yeah,
could be-
it should be the
Yes.
businesses, yeah, that's, we're
So
not.
we'll change that, or no, is this actually the proposed language in the, so we could,
Yeah.
Michelle, are you
Yep,
tracking all the
we're-
changes?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that businesses, but businesses, so, and I kind of object to them being for 6 months. Like, if it's something that is, hey, this new place is open, why would you need to have it for more than, a month or 2 months or 3 months? 6 months seems to be a
Yeah,
really
I
long
think,
time.
Do we have a limitation on other temporary signage?
It is 6
It is
months.
6 months, yeah.
Okay, so.
That's a grand opening,
We would be
though.
making this more restrictive
Well,
than what's allowable
so
in
we
other
do,
parts of the
for
township?
our other regular temporary signs like your H-stake, your realtor signs, those are always, that could be any time, that's always 6 months, though.
Which ones?
Like your real estate signs, the commercial real estate
Developer.
signs, yeah.
Oh,
People
yeah,
wanna-
yeah, like for sale, like for,
Mhm,
okay,
yeah.
those
So
are for sale,
that falls
yeah.
under the temporary signs, but whether it's a grand opening or just something that they want to do that qualifies under the ongoing temporary signs, that's 6 months.
Is it just, because, so you have grand opening, and I can see that for 6 months actually seems, well, depending, but, grand opening, 6 months, you have a new business, or of course, selling properties can take up to 6 months, but if it's just like a temporary,
Well, these would be grand opening potentially.
Yeah.
For businesses in Evans Farm, so I
Yeah.
think
So they
it's
could be
uniform with
anything,
what's
though.
available
That's
to
what we
anyone else
wanted.
in
We
the
wanted to
township.
stay uniform with the code and try not to change it. That's why we only added something, and that's why we picked the 6 months.
so the grand opening signage that's in the code right now was not included in this? Is that what you're saying, they're banned?
No, it is. So these are additional criteria from our signage code.
Yeah, so they could have grand opening signs now, under the existing signage code.
But probably not banners of this size?
Not banners.
Not
of
this big, not this big, but they could
Or
have,
height.
yeah. So they could still have
The height,
yeah. Oh, right, yeah.
not the height. And these, I mean, I just feel like it could be, I
Well,
feel like there's never gonna be a time there's not a banner up, and I just don't want to see it.
There will be, and there'll be times that there's not one up, and there'll be times where we're switching them out in 3 months. And again, one of the reasons with the JED board and with the Lewis Center business, for me, it's perfect place on the two end ones for people to drive by, like you said, and they're not turning because they're not facing, and they can see it. And for me, it was more of adding not just our businesses, but doing something, and that's why I had the sign mocked up. Orange Township, the 4th of July parade, the memorial event. For me, with the traffic going to be a lot of traffic coming by there, I really wanted to promote community events as well as Evans Farm businesses.
But
I
is
mean,
it community events and businesses within Evans Farm? What is the limiting?
community events is what you guys would approve and for Orange Township and us. So for instance, we're having an Oktoberfest, September 7th. I don't know if they're gonna,
In Evans Farm, correct?
yeah,
Right.
in Evans Farm.
Okay,
But it's going to be for everyone.
yeah.
For everyone, add Orange Township, we're gonna send out and we're gonna have this, close the streets down and do what we always do. So we wanna advertise that. That's good for all of us, not just Evans Farm. I wanna promote Evans Farm and Orange Township and the residents to be invited to come into
But that's
this
within.
town center.
But it says limited to community events and businesses within Evans Farm. So this is only for community events and businesses within Evans Farm, not community events outside.
Eric and I were talking about that, and it's community events, period, and businesses within Evans Farm.
So could a local soccer association
Yeah.
advertise for a community event?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
No, because you
church.
wouldn't approve that. If it's not a community event we're having at Evans Farm or a community event sanctioned by Orange Township, you wouldn't approve the
So
sign permit.
that's what you're.
Yeah.
That's where I'm heading.
Okay.
You see what I mean? You could
Yeah,
have the Lewis Center United Methodist Church could
Right.
pay them. I mean, what's to stop someone from
Right.
saying, hey, can you advertise my event or my
Church
church or
festival
my,
or-
my outside, maybe one of the owners has a second location in Worthington and they
But
want, I just
we
want to
get
limit the language.
Some additional oversight in that process, correct? We
Well,
collect
we
the.
can't
No.
regulate content.
No,
Yeah.
no, this would
Then,
be
then do we
basically-
need to say,
So we need to say.
He's asking for signage for anything and everything that
But-
involves any event.
So
You
we
could-
need
you
to
could
say, no,
argue-
I'm not. I
You're
agree
not,
with you.
that's not your
Yeah.
intent, but that's
Well,
what the language states.
Yeah, not to be more complicated, but you could argue that we might not be able, content regulations are not a thing anymore for signage, so
Yeah, I don't think we can determine what is a proper community event and what is not
don't think
for
we can
purposes
for
of
signage.
temporary
even
banners.
if you write it in this,
Correct.
yeah, Reed
Yeah.
versus Gilbert says there's no.
so we're not allowed to do that?
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, so you're saying?
I'm just saying,
Wait,
like,
wait, wait,
I don't
hold
think
on,
we
though.
can get strict on the, what type or what purpose the signs are, because that gets into content regulation, and
So,
we are not allowed to do
But what
that.
if there's
This
a
is also private
BZA,
property.
if there's a BZA that has, they approve a sign that says one thing, are you saying they can change it to anything they want?
Yes.
They can put anything they want, even when we approve The
We
sign.
cannot regulate content anymore.
And-
We can regulate the size, the height, the shape, the materials, but we cannot regulate what's said on the sign.
So then they can advertise anything anywhere. They can do a real estate sign, they could, I mean, and why are 4 necessary? Can you show me a rendering of like where the 4 would be?
Well, we actually have we actually
Is
right
there-
now have, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 4 elevator shafts.
But you'll be building additional buildings.
And
that
when we add
would have
additional
more.
buildings, we wanted to limit it to 4.
4
We're only
total.
gonna put, so when you drive by, you'll see the elevator shafts. You'll see the elevator shafts, that are out closest to the road where we'll put the signage. It doesn't help us to put them on the 2 out there in the very back because, again, people wouldn't even driving by to help them. So it's the 2 elevator shafts that we have near the road. And then when we build more buildings, yes.
So
we'll-
maximum of 4,
Yeah,
regardless of
that's
how
what
many
the zoning
buildings.
commission wanted to limit it to 4.
Are there 4 buildings?
There are 4 buildings right now, so we could put 1 on each building. Each building has 1 elevator shaft.
Do you need more than 1 per building? What about if we limit it to 1 per building? Can
No.
everybody see it?
Sure, you can put it on elevator shafts, 1 per building.
Yeah, are you okay with that? Because I just
How many
imagine
elevator
this-
shafts are there on each building? In each building, sorry.
I know, you
There are
you
2
just,
per-
1 in, is there 2?
I thought one on,
Is there,
each side.
can someone show a picture of
I
what,
can-
like, the
I
whole
can
building
pull
Can you
looks
give
like?
us like the Google Streets view?
I-
Does
yeah,
that
I'm
exist?
Sorry, I'm
I-
trying to find
Yeah.
it,
No.
Because all they had to submit was just the text change, so, and we did ask for renderings as an example, but, let me see what I can do.
And what was that case, Michelle, you were saying?
Reed versus Gilbert.
Reed?
I learned a lot about it in school.
Is that, it's recent?
So you
Kind of.
couldn't put community events and businesses within Evans Farm or community events sanctioned by Orange Township as part of the permit process? I'm just asking.
I don't have our legal counsel here, but it's my understanding that we cannot regulate
Okay,
content
well,
on a sign.
We will. We'll regulate.
Yeah, private entity can do
Because
whatever
we
they
aren't
want.
going to use them for
Government entity
advertising
cannot.
people outside of Everett's Farm.
Yeah.
And we aren't going to use them for advertising
Right.
businesses that Orange Township, not a community event that's not
So it has
Orange
to be
Township.
basically approved by you before you're even gonna bring it to us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. And
Where?
same thing, as I talked to the zoning
Oh.
group.
Yeah.
They feel comfortable that we would not allow some ugly sign with bad words on the side of our buildings. And
It's not there yet. Okay. Sorry, the street view is not updated with the commercial.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Does it have an overhead? It probably is a satellite view, right?
Yeah, let me see the
Because
satellite.
those are always updated quickly.
Yes, I have the satellite. Okay. So these are the 4 commercial buildings right now.
You know, it does look like there are 2 elevator shafts in each building.
Where's that?
Can you
Yeah, I see.
zoom down more?
These 2?
It's on the backside, so
backside.
those kind of
Where it
like,
bumps.
Zoom
yeah,
down some
rectangular
more.
chunks there, I think, are the elevator shafts.
Well, there's only one entrance to the elevators.
Then maybe one's a stairwell and one is an elevator?
One's maybe a stairwell, a stairwell shaft, and one's the elevator
Elevator shaft.
shaft.
I wouldn't think you'd have 2 elevator
No,
shafts in
I-
a
No,
building.
Yeah,
not
that's-
a building that size.
So if there's, yeah, I mean, you could limit it to 1 per building. I mean, that's.
And that way, that gives you the freedom, if a stairwell shaft is better than the.
Yeah,
than the
and
elevator
that,
shaft,
you're
then
right,
you
that
have
might be
freedom.
the one that's closer to the,
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Right.
So we should add elevator shafts or stairwell shafts, limited to 1 per building. I'm okay with that, yes. I think all of our intentions are the same.
Okay, so it looks like, I'm just trying to look So for modifications, we could, I have two right now. It's limit to 4 banner signs on the elevator shafts at a minimum, in parentheses, at a minimum of, or sorry, at a maximum of 1 per building.
I would say elevator shafts or stairwell shafts, 1 per building.
I think it's not
Do you
a
just
stairwell
want
shaft.
one sign, like, do I even have to specify elevator shafts, or?
No,
Just
I
say
don't.
1 per building.
Just 1 per building
banner per
covers it
per
too, because
building.
there's no other place to put them.
With all of the windows and
That-
patios,
We
you're not
could
going to
block
put
the
a banner over
patios.
those.
We could block
Except
the
it's
patio.
front door.
Okay, limit to 1 banner sign per
Building.
building. And then I do have the second point, limited to community events and businesses within Evans Farm.
So do we,
Yeah.
is there punctuation in there?
Do you
So
like a
it'll
comma
say-
in between
Like-
community events
Community
and?
events, right, comma, and
Comma.
businesses within Evans Farms.
Limited to community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm.
Right, because then that gives you guys the freedom to say it's community events within Evans Farms, community events within Orange Township. Again, you're getting to
Yeah.
rule on the content, whereas we can't.
Okay,
It's a
gotcha.
one-banner
We're,
sign.
But-
like I
but
said, we are not going to.
How can we limit it then to community events? if
I
we
don't
can't
really
limit it?
know.
I don't think we can.
I don't
but-
think we can either.
We can't. Oh, then we can't say community events.
Well, we can put it in there, I mean, but see, in theory, like, if this got sold or you had a different owner, I mean, you could start renting this space and you could put, I mean, it could be, basically, it could be a rentable billboard. So what we have is we have that billboard that's down at the corner of Vale Canyon and,
Oh, by the, yeah. by
Yeah.
by
Well, the code
yeah.
text says
No,
that
I don't-
billboards are
yeah.
prohibited.
Oh,
So-
but no, I know it's a billboard, but
Functioning.
it's like a billboard because, that will never go away. I mean, that billboard will be there forever because,
One
and so
time it was
this
for
could be a
someone's
billboard
birthday.
too. It could basically put anything on it at any time for any reason. And it could be rented. I mean, someone could say, hey, you get thousands of customers here. We're going to put a picture of you as your real estate company, or we're going to put, God knows what.
But if they're allowed to regulate the content,
Yeah, but
but you're saying if they sell the property to someone
I
else,
mean,
yeah, I know. what you're saying. You're just trying to
it
play
doesn't
devil's
matter what
advocate,
people
yeah.
say during a zoning hearing, it's what's
So we
in
want,
writing.
so we want to restrict it to signage that cannot be rented out to,
Adding a different city.
to advertise businesses or events outside of Evans Farm? I mean, there's got to be some language.
Do you plan on charging a fee for businesses in Evans Farm?
No. No.
So maybe just saying that
No, this
the
is-
signs can't be rented out, period, and to businesses outside of Evans Farm, because you can see my point is, once this is approved, I mean, who knows what will happen in 5 or 10 years, but you got unlimited signage on there advertising all kinds of stuff.
Well, we still require a permit,
Yeah, well, they have to approve it, though.
and we
There's no reason
can't
they won't approve it.
necessarily
No, you don't have
regulate
to.
the content, but we could determine,
You can't, it's a basically blank slate for large signage, unlike anything we've ever approved in
I
Orange
mean, you can say the
Township.
intent is to limit it to community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm.
That's it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. We couldn't, at that
Yes,
point,
ma'am.
you couldn't rent it out to advertise a business outside of Evans Farm.
Or you can keep it as is, and then you can add a sentence, outside advertising is not permitted.
Yeah, that's fine too.
I don't know.
Yeah, advertising for businesses outside Evans Farm is not permitted, yeah.
There you go. That sounds like it covers it. I understand your concern, Lisa.
Yeah, that's why we've never approved anything like this in all of the township. It's always
Right.
very specific and,
Right.
Especially in
Sorry,
that
let
part.
me try it. So banners are permitted outside.
I think what I heard her say is advertising for businesses outside of Evans Farm is not permitted.
Yeah.
Say prohibited.
There you go.
it's prohibited.
Yeah,
Yes,
just one
it's
So then
sentence and,
that cuts off all realtors. What if I want to put a banner that says it's my 50th birthday?
no,
I know, like how do we,
not letting you.
okay.
I'm not letting you.
Well,
Unless you,
How do we
unless you
write that
want to
in?
make it a,
Because
com-
that's not a business.
unless you want to make it a community event,
Right, I'll invite
your
them.
birthday.
Can I say it's directly related to businesses within Evans Farm and community events?
Well,
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, it is a
Directly
commercial area. I'm okay with some pretty
Yeah,
large
we will.
signage, I guess. It's huge, but it's just, we want to, there's a reason that signage in a lot of the nicer parts of Columbus, there's a limit on signage. You know, you go to
Right.
Dublin, you don't see this kind of
No,
stuff.
and your point is right. It's, we're not going to use it for outside and so, and you're right. If 10 years from now, we're not the owners, you want to make sure that you don't have to,
You never
do
know
this
what's gonna
again.
happen.
yeah,
Like when you go downtown,
we will be, but that's,
now the sides of buildings are being used for advertisements.
At Delaware?
No, I mean like
Downtown
downtown, like
Columbus.
downtown Columbus.
Oh, yeah,
when you
they-
get off,
Oh, yeah.
Like 670 and going down, Third or whatever that is.
third and fourth.
Which I don't think it's
Can I delete
terrible,
this
it's
picture?
just,
Okay.
Well, and that's an urban setting too, you know.
True.
This is not, this is
That's
supposed to
true.
be the suburbs.
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, so when we do allow banners and we charge 150 for grand openings, what is the intent of that? I mean, if we aren't regulating so if it's a grand opening sign,
so we do regulate it. We set it like a timer, I guess.
it's a timer, but not the content. So what if they applied for a grand opening sign and it actually said, buy 2 hamburgers, get 2 free? You can't regulate that? So basically, unlimited banners in Orange Township subject to a permit fee and the size and 6 months.
That's federal law now,
Yeah.
And grand opening, just to be clear, is the 15-day duration. It's not a
Oh, it's just
6-month
15?
duration.
Okay.
Correct.
That makes sense. Strike that from the record, all of that. Okay, so what do you guys have so far? Are there any restrictions on the colors?
Well, other than the restrictions on colors that are in our code already, you know, our design guidelines and standards and our town architect and everybody else is going to be approving these signs before we bring them to you guys. So I can guarantee you I mean, it's real simple. I mean, we're
For
not going
the
to let ugly colors and ugly signs.
high chroma.
Yeah.
What about, so the new business association, is it called Lewis Center
Lewis Center
Businesses?
Business Connect.
Connect.
Yeah.
So if they want to have a sign, are they located, is their office located within Evans Farm?
No?
But if they were wanting to host a community event,
Yes.
Then-
community event.
then yes,
Inside
then-
the footprint of Evans Farms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Then it would be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So basically we'll just limit it to any events within Evans Farm.
Instead of making like a handful of modifications, I would propose just rewriting the one paragraph.
Yeah.
So I have typed it out. So as a modification to the approval, banners are permitted within the Evans Farm PCD with no more than 250 square feet in size and directly related to community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm. Advertising for businesses outside of Evans Farm is prohibited. Banners shall be prohibited from facing Lewis Center Road and shall not exceed 1 sign per building. Banners shall require a permit and shall be allowed for a period not to exceed 6 months.
Is there a maximum of 4?
There you go.
There was.
Yeah, it said.
Can you put a
shall not
maximum of 4 anyway, just in case?
I think you
Maximum
said
of
4.
4
Didn't you
for the whole.
Did you say it
at
already?
once. I didn't say that.
Yeah,
no.
add maximum of 4
Shall not
within,
exceed 1 sign per building.
I mean, because who knows
maximum
if there's
of 4
gonna,
at any
yeah,
one time.
maximum of 4 within, the,
What you had before shall not exceed 4.
yeah, exactly.
I think, a maximum of 4 banner signs are permitted at one time, but shall not exceed one sign per building.
At any one time.
I'm sorry,
At any one time?
at any one time, thank you. At any one time, but shall not exceed one banner sign per building.
Can you read the whole thing again, please?
Yes.
And I think you can say banner and not include the additional verbiage of sign.
Okay.
Can you regulate the content of banners?
Content
me look that
regulations,
up.
a no-no.
I'm gonna be up tonight.
Okay, banners are permitted within the Evans Farm Plan Commercial District with no more than 250 square feet in size and directly related to community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm. Advertising for businesses outside of Evans Farm is prohibited. Banners shall be prohibited from facing Lewis Center Road. A maximum of 4 banners are permitted at any one time, but shall not exceed 1 banner per building. Banners shall require a permit and shall be allowed for any period not to exceed 6 months.
And to Erica's point about the birthday signage, is that adequately prohibited? Like, I guess unless the
someone
birthday's
wants to
taking
pay that
place
money
within
for
Evans.
it.
Would you say?
It says businesses.
In community events, I mean, that's arguably an event, I guess. It's-
I think that's a risk worth taking
Yeah.
with
Erica's
the
gonna rent
opportunity
it for her
to
50th birthday.
advertise
You
our
want your
community
50th
events.
birthday and you want a banner, and as long as you invite all of Orange Township, we're in.
It's a community
Right.
event.
Yeah,
It's a birthday, yay.
We'll stipulate that your community event will be put in
Only-
the newsletter.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or the verbiage can only say, only trustees can have their birthday party.
There we
Oh,
go.
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Subject to approval of the trustees.
Right?
Very constitutional.
Right. That's great.
Yeah, I should have never gone to law school.
Now, Michelle, when it says limited to community events and, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm, so it says community events. If you say community events and businesses within Evans Farm, if you take the comma out, then that,
Yeah, I think she'd like to strike the comment
strike the
now.
comma,
Strike the
yeah.
comma.
Okay.
Because before it was community events of any kind, but now it's community event, or wait, or is this, could you promote a
That's what
Well,
he
see,
wants to be
there's,
able to promote, like a
I want to be
parade or
able to
Founder's Fest
promote
or-
Orange Township.
Right.
How about you could say, community events and businesses within Evans Farms, comma, and you could put Orange Township sanctioned community events. I mean, you could throw that in, I mean,
That's fine
Whether or
with
not-
me.
End of, yeah.
Orange Township sanctioned community events.
So is it just Orange Township events that were, no? 'cause you
Well,
would do
because
anything.
those are the only ones like outside, like if they want to put the parade, for example.
Right.
So it would say community events and businesses within Orange.
I think
within-
that falls into it,
Yeah,
definitely.
what if the
But it
Lewis
doesn't-
Center Business Connect decides to do that like 4th of July bash that they used to do with the fireworks and the bands and all that kind of stuff? Like that wouldn't be allowed if we added
Yeah, if it's not
specific to
sanctioned.
that.
But it still says though, wait, would it take place within the Evans Farm though?
But like the Founder's Fest doesn't take place within Evans Farms, the holiday.
But
event
it's
doesn't
township
currently.
sanctioned though.
Right.
If it's township sanctioned.
But I would.
I
but
still
like-
think we might be overthinking this a little bit.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
see.
okay
Oh,
if you guys
there's a
want
lot
to
of things
hold
we
all
thought
your
we were
events at
overthinking,
Evans
and later
Farm.
we
Sure you
wish we
are.
ever thought them.
You know, that,
Like
I'm
human
okay with
toys.
all community events within Orange Township being held at Evans Farm. I mean,
And we're okay also.
You guys
Oh,
think?
yeah, we'll have a parade there
Showing off our
too.
parks.
I would love the parade
What do
there.
you
I
think?
think this captures,
Wait, say it, read it one more time.
I provided it to
Oh,
you.
good.
so
Oh,
if you
already?
want-
How's that?
Oh, my
Okay.
gosh.
Oh, Eric, did you just put this in?
Sorry, I didn't know, yeah.
Very good.
Dan, do you want a copy?
Her with Evans Farm, within the abused no more than 200. Now, is it 250 if the banners are 24 by 10? Isn't that 240, or does that not matter?
The mock-up was 24 by 10.
They're
Yeah.
10 by 24, and I want
Few
to make sure
inches.
that they're 6
All
inches
right.
on each side. I
All
didn't
right.
mess up.
And directly related to community events. Oh, and maybe just, how about community events and, oh, wait. Community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm. Advertising for business outside of Evans Farm is prohibited. Banners shall be prohibited from facing Lewis Center Road. What about renting? Can you put something in about renting banners? The space shall not, the banners cannot be rented.
I think that's what would technically be happening.
Outside of Evans
What?
Farm is prohibited.
If you had a business within Evans Farm that wanted to have a banner, they would be renting that space from the developer.
They are, but they aren't, paying
It's,
for it.
but we're not allowing anybody outside. I think that line.
So could someone pay, like, to put their banner within Evans Farm, they can pay,
If they're a business.
you can pay, so you could charge them, so it's just.
Yeah, I guess
Versus
it's-
being a community event that's just advertised for free, they could charge.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
I mean, there's
That'd
also
be
going
good
to
for
be
the-
a permit fee to cover. So I'm assuming that the
$150
developer
though.
is going to want to have the business pay the $150.
That's not
yeah,
very much.
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, because there's not a purpose to have banners all the time. I just want to make sure it's not
Right.
banners 24/7 I hope they're taken down sometimes and a different
Oh,
one
we
put
are,
up, or
yeah. Yeah, we're,
Just a lot. It's just, that's really big. That's so large.
you'd be
really big.
surprised. I've looked at it
I know they're
enough.
far away.
Yeah, I've looked
It's
at
so
enough that when you're driving by, that space up there isn't as big as it
Seems.
looks. It's, in fact, the buildings, you know, there was, some of our group wanted to do them all the way down the shaft. And I said, that's probably not, aesthetically pleasing enough, because we got the nice brick.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so what do we think about directly related to community events, comma, and businesses within Evans Farm? Are we taking the comma out?
I don't think the comma matters one way or another.
Well, community events is separate from businesses within Evans Farm. If it's just community events, it could be any community event. It doesn't, you know how you would read the law sometimes, and they
Right.
have a bunch of ands and commas before, and they all seem to actually relate to the final
That's
word.
what,
Community
that's what
events could
gives
be-
us lawyers income, to
It's true.
leave some gray area in there.
It's
No.
always gray. But if you say community events, it could be community events like in a whole, anywhere. Community events in Berlin Township, in Genoa Township, in City of Columbus. What is a community
So if we
event?
take out the comma,
Comma,
then
it
you
would
would
Take,
get.
take
it
out
would-
the comma.
It would-
But again, he wants to be able to allow Orange Township events to be advertised as well. Is that a problem if we take out the comma?
Well,
I mean,
wait
we
a
will-
minute.
I will-
So wait, couldn't we do it?
We
We're
can
not
interpret
limited
it
by
as
the
Orange
law, so
Township.
we could just say, okay, fine, we're gonna put our Orange Township signage up there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't do that in other areas currently.
Do
All
what?
all of our advertising is within our facilities and our social
on our-
media. So I don't think, unless
But-
we don't have the budgetary means, or I have
make a
not
banner
requested
that
the
big.
board to put, to
But they would
sign
put it up.
banners, and, yeah.
They would
That's
put it
not-
up.
But we still have to pay for the banner to be made.
I mean, unless Evans Farm wants to take.
Unless
it
we
themselves.
decided
Yeah,
to
pay for it.
be
I
part
don't-
of the
I
community
don't
event.
see Evans, I don't know that, I mean, again, if there's an event that we're partnering within Evans Farm, that makes sense. But for Evans Farm to be so gracious to
they
advertise
probably
our
won't even
Founders
do
Festival in
that.
North Orange Park, I don't know if that's something you're
Probably
going
would
to
never
do.
happen.
Yeah, why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't we? I mean, again, this is Orange Township's town center, and we're
No,
all,
I
and
get
I
it, just
want
didn't
to
know if you'd
promote.
want to do that at your expense.
I live here,
I
and-
appreciate it, but.
Well, you never, remember, we have a JED board, and we've got all kinds of people that are promoting businesses for Orange Township, and we've got funds that we all can do that. So I would leave it open for us to
Okay.
Make that decision.
Yeah,
make
but I
that
would,
decision when the permit comes in, because I think you'll want to.
I would take the comment out though, because the community, it still says community events and businesses with Evans Farm. I just want to make sure it's not just any random, like a HOA. You can have a HOA.
You can take the comment
Yeah, I would
out.
take the comment
Okay, I'll
out.
take the
You
comment.
take the
And then I
comment
guess
out.
if there was an Orange Township event, then, and they wanted to put an Orange Township sign, I mean, we're the enforcers. So we
Yeah,
just wouldn't
you're-
enforce it, because we don't have to, we're a government, we don't have to actually
Yeah, we're all-
abide by these ridiculous zoning
That's the
rules.
spirit.
Right, but it's for the good of the community, it's not like we're being
Right,
selfish. it's
that's
for
right.
everyone.
Appreciate
I mean-
compliance with
Yeah.
zoning
I was
laws.
gonna
Right.
say,
Yeah,
you know,
Except
if,
for the township.
if the township were to provide any signage for our events in Evans Farm,
guys-
we would look at the standards and make sure our signage is equal, if not less, than what's allowed.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
Yeah,
It would
absolutely.
hardly ever happen. I'm
Yeah.
assuming maybe for the parade, but even then, we just want to make sure that, and
We-
we're a government agency that serves people and makes people's lives better versus like a company that does the same thing, I guess, but has a profit motive. So I just want to make sure that it's
Yeah.
something that's good for the community, not
Well,
just for an
just-
individual
yeah.
outside of, some attorney that's based somewhere. And you just never know. I mean, in several years, things could dramatically change. And I've been in zoning since 1998, and you would be amazed at the things
Yeah.
I've seen happen.
As you know, we've spent 10 years and going on 11, and it's, so
We've been-
far, we're doing a pretty good job, all of us, on this.
Yeah, you could advertise the Dora, I guess, that there's Dora
Yeah.
events and things. Yeah, it is a pretty happening place.
Yeah,
it's
it is
different
starting.
than everywhere else.
I'm excited
It's
about it.
exciting. Or does that sound good? Is that enough micromanaging
Thank
of
you.
language?
No, that's-
Although necessary.
So we would want to go with the resolution on page 2 of the template.
And we are still allowing, let's see here.
So
Not
the-
exceed 6 months. I just want to make sure we covered everything.
Yeah, so the
Functions
paragraph that I
event.
provided will replace the paragraph that's in the text.
I just want to make sure I wrote all these notes. I want to make sure they're all in the, okay, yeah, I think that should be good.
Yeah.
With no comments.
No comment, take the comment, okay, and then, are there any comments from the public? I see 100 of you out there ready to speak. No one's here, okay, all right.
And we did, just for the record, we did receive that one public comment.
Yeah, we did,
That was
so
in
from
favor of
Melissa.
it. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the church, and that's the problem, as you said, a slippery slope, that they're gonna wanna come in. Maybe we could do,
I think when we should visit this during our zoning resolution rehaul and, which we have talked about, being a little, actually, there's some content regulation in our code currently that we're not allowed to enforce. So there's definitely rooms for some improvements and maybe opportunities for, special events or advertising and how we can handle that in the
yeah, and I
future.
was reading the
Yeah.
case, and it said that it's not a problem because it doesn't regulate speech. So it's kind of like the conclusion was based on something that wasn't actually ruled on, but was kind of implied or inferred, or, I don't know. Okay, it wasn't a direct ruling on that, but it did reference it said because in that particular case, the church's signage did not regulate, the actual content did not, it wasn't a problem. So it was kind of like an indirect kind of ruling. I'll have to look into it more, but any more questions or comments?
No.
Okay, so,
And that's the updated resolution number 2.
is it number
252.
252? Or,
Yes.
wait, do we?
On page 2, the modification.
Oh, 2, okay, yep. So it's 2, is it 250?
Yeah, we just provide the options of approval with modification and denial on the template, but so you'll want to read off the
But would
resolution
it
on
be,
page 2.
so it's not 251?
No.
It's not, okay. Okay, I make a motion to approve Resolution 24-252 to adopt the recommendation of approval of the zoning commission as to zoning application ZON 24-04 of BZ Evans LLC with modifications, and I will read this for the record. The paragraph on what, item 10, number C, item 10, temporary realtor, temporary building signs and miscellaneous other signage. Item C, that paragraph will, item C will state, banners are permitted within the Evans Farm PCD with no more than 250 square feet. Wait a minute, should it be of no more than 250 square feet? Is it with? Banners are.
I
permitted.
just.
Banners
that's
are
what-
permitted
I
with
just-
those from PCD with no more than, is that the right verbiage?
I think that's fine.
Is that fine? Okay, with no more than 250 square feet in size and directly related to community events and businesses within Evans Farm. Advertising for businesses outside of Evans Farm is prohibited. Banners shall be prohibited from facing Lewis Center Road. A maximum of 4 banners are permitted at any one time, but shall not exceed 1 banner per building. Banners shall require a permit and shall be allowed for any period not to exceed 6 months.
Second?
Trustee Knapp,
Yes?
Trustee Ringle,
Yes.
Trustee Faust.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
You're approved.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you for talking into the microphone.
Well,
No, I don't. I'm happy to. Right, get it ready.
All right.
It'll be for my
Is
60th.
the meeting adjourned?
Yeah, do I have to read a resolution to?
No, we
Okay,
just
all right,
close it.
Okay, do we do a motion? Or just adjourn?
Just record that we closed the meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
meeting is adjourned.
Thanks. You could still hit the gavel.
I did.